and I am very happy to begin my tenure here as the Associate Director for College Partner Relations and help relaunch this crucial partner benefit that we've been looking forward to unveiling for a few months now. And today we're going to remove this video feature shortly and just go to audio, but we are set to present and speak about summer bridge programs and how these can be used very, very crucially and critically as a tool for orientation, acclimation, and retention. I just wanted to issue a few housekeeping pieces as we go, but I'm going to take myself off the video screen and we'll begin from there. So, just to start, we're always soliciting topics and ideas to present upon in these series. So if any of you out there have pieces that you would like to speak about, or even colleagues at different institutions that you know are also college partners, and you two or even three would like to collaborate and speak about something that can benefit the entire community of those of us committed to serving first-gen students, we're always interested in having that happen. So please reach out to me directly. Another reminder is that there will be a recording of this webinar available, which I will circulate out through the College Partner Exchange, so that if you wanted to share this with colleagues who may have missed it, or have the opportunity to share it with even other departmental offices at all of your institutions who might benefit from learning about these topics, we will happily do so. That's its intended use. Just as a bit of housekeeping and how to use the GoToWebinar software, if you see on the right in your dashboard, there is a section for questions. We do want you to type in those questions over the course of the webinar, and depending upon when they arrive, I may interrupt our panelists to step in and ask them to field these questions if they pertain to something being described in that moment. I may also use those questions for later on in a larger wrap-up sense. If they are larger 30,000-foot questions that might address something broader than the specific topic. As we are going, please feel free to chat me if there are any concerns you have about the software, because we want to know. So, without further ado, we are going to move into hearing from our experts, and I will be driving the functionality of this program. So I will be driving the PowerPoint slides as well. If anybody has issues seeing them, please let me know. And to allow my other panelists, our experts, to weigh in, they are both now unmuted, and we will begin. So to start, to introduce them, and then they will take it from here. Again, my name is Ali Levy. I'm the Associate Director for College Partner Relations here at Center for Student Opportunity. And now I would like Harper to step in and say who she is.
Hello everyone, my name is Harper Matthews. I am one of the admission counselors at Pepperdine University in Southern California.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us, Harper. And next?
Good morning, everyone. Oh, hi. Good morning, everyone. I am Charlene Lobo Soriano, and I am from the University of San Francisco, where I serve as the Associate Dean for Student Academic Services for branch campuses in the Center for Academic and Student Achievement.
Wonderful. And just at the outset, I wanted to thank these expert panelists for all of the work they've done in preparation for this, and I'm sure we're going to learn a lot today from them with regard to their programs and what they're doing to be cutting edge at serving the first-gen students on their campus. Great. So without any further delay, we will head straight into Pepperdine's program, and I will turn it over to Harper Matthews.
Yeah, so on Pepperdine's campus, we have a program called the Pepperdine Summer Preview, or what we affectionately call PSP. And this program is designed for first-generation enrolled students for the upcoming fall. So to give you a little background information about this program, it originally was founded by two admission counselors after a very interesting situation happened. So pretty much during the summer of 2010, our office received a phone call from a grandmother, and the grandmother was telling us that her grandson was no longer going to be attending Pepperdine for the fall of 2010. and she said that the reason that he decided that he no longer wanted to come to Pepperdine was just because he was afraid. He really didn't know what to expect. He was the first one in his family to go away to school, and he was really nervous because he didn't really have the support to help him really know that he would do well on our campus. And this was something that was really concerning to our admission office because this particular student happened to be a great fit for our institution and was somebody that the admission committee was very excited about him coming to our campus. And after this interaction, our admission team decided to do a little bit of research, and what we found is that as most campuses, and every campus has summer melt, on our campus, the students who were first generation were melting at a higher rate than other students on our campus. And so that helped us notice that we needed to do something that was going to better support these students. So that is how the creation of PSP, or the Pepperdine Summer Program preview, came about. Originally, the first class started that next summer, so they came onto our campus in June of 2011. It was 15 students. They stayed on our campus the first year for 3 days during that June month. Now our program has expanded, and so now the program is 4 days long. Throughout that entire 4 days, the students are attending some different programming throughout that week on our campus. They're living in our dorms, and our program has definitely expanded in terms of the groups. We went from the first 15 students to now having 71 different students who have gone through the program over the last 5 years. It's definitely been a successful program on our campus. Now, in terms of the mission and the goals of our program, we hope that first it was going to combat the high summer melt rate of our generation students. We also hope that this program was going to introduce the participants to campus in a manner that made them feel as if they were a part of the community. And then lastly, one of our top goals was that it was going to connect these students to faculty, staff members, different departments and programs that were going to be able to support them and that were really there to help them throughout their college career. Now, out of these goals, our outcomes or our hopes for this program was that these students were going to yield so that they would show up for new student orientation in August. We hope that through learning about some of the different programs that were available on campus, all of these students would get involved on our campus and they would become active members of the Pepperdine community. And then ultimately kind of a longer, long-term goal was that these students would be retained and that participants would complete their degree and reach graduation day on our campus. Now, in terms of some just I would say overall best practices and things that we learned through this program, there are some key things that were definitely important. So the first thing was just intentional student selection. We spend some time making sure that these students are handpicked for this program. So we will go through their applications again after they have been enrolled, and then we kind of see which students do we think would benefit the most from this type of program. We also are intentional about making sure that we are bringing students from different backgrounds, different regions. Although we do have 50% in-state student, we do also have 50% out-of-state student on our campus. And so because of that, we make it an effort to fly in some first-generation college students from other parts of the country as well. Another best practice is that we learn that incorporating different key departments is so important for this program. As an admission office, we are trained to talk about all the different programs that are available, but it's much more meaningful when we have people from those departments coming to talk about the different things that they offer students, so that when our students are on campus, they have some names, they have some faces in these departments. And so that is why we partner with different offices like our Career Center and our student affairs, different student affairs offices. We also will work with some of our special programs. For example, on our campus, studying abroad is something that's very popular. About 65% of our students go abroad. So we bring our international programs office in to talk to our students so that they know about these key programs and departments, but they also have connections with some faculty and staff that work in these departments. Next, we definitely integrate current students into this program as well as staff. Year and year again, when students talk about some of their favorite parts of being a part of the PSP program, they mention that they loved getting to know some of the staff members during some of the non-programmed time. So for example, we have admission staff who stay in the halls with them throughout the 4 days. They really like the fact that they can just talk to different staff members about life and about the transition they're about to make, because it helps them feel as if the people on campus are just there to support them. Along with that, we do invite current students to also be a part of different events throughout this week. So now that we have a large Pepperdine Summer Preview alumni base, we invite those students to come back to help mentor the students and then just to come to some of the events that we have programmed. Next, we like to provide an authentic student perspective. I think that programming is great, and I think that being able to set up some structured time is important, but I also found that giving students an opportunity to have some free time to allow them to explore campus is just as important, because students want to know what it's going to be like when they're having to navigate the campus on their own. Something that we also do that's very intentional is that we actually host one session that is student only, so we invite a panel of current students to speak with our PSP participants, and all staff and faculty leave during this time so that the PSP participants can just ask them authentic questions about what it's like to be at Pepperdine without the pressure of staff or faculty members in the room, so that they're really getting an authentic perspective. And then lastly, we try to keep programming throughout the year. So although the PSP program is primarily a summer gap program that we offer, we do have occasional events throughout the year just to keep the group together, and we really hope that they become each other's support system. And a really great way to make sure that that's happening is just by providing some space for them to see each other, for them to reconnect, especially because we do have a very active student life. And so students tend to be very busy, so it's nice when we do some programming throughout the year that helps them be able to reconnect and remember that they do have a support system within the Pepperdine Summer Preview. So that is kind of a general overview of our program and some of the things that we've learned over the past 5 years.
Thank you so much, Harper. And please, all of you in the audience, I see a couple questions coming in, some more general, some more targeted already towards the Pepperdine end of things. Please make sure they're coming through so that Harper can address this. This is great. Thank you. So in the interest of balancing the time, we want to move to our USF representative, Dr. Charlene, and we will be answering some questions after that time. But Charlene, if you are ready, I will get you set up, and away we go.
Perfect. So I'm very proud to be a part of the Muscat Scholars Program here at the University of San Francisco. I've been a part of the university for 15 years now, and thankfully so has the Muscat Scholars, even when I was a master's intern here many years ago, even before that. So let's talk about the program origin of the Muscat Scholars Program. In 1994, at the very beginning of our program, that was our first year of scholars. 1994 also saw the James Irvine Foundation grant as part of our seed money for the Muscat Scholars Program. With the James Irvine Foundation grant, other departments on campus were bolstered and strengthened, and some of those are the multicultural recruitment and multicultural Student Services Office, the Learning and Writing Center, which is our tutoring program on campus, as well as the Muscat Scholars Program. And as part of that grant, we were charged to work together, and that's one of the amazing and beautiful things about our program here at USF is that we do have the buy-in from many departments on campus, including even admissions, financial aid, student employment, career services are all a part of our program. So that's really been important for us. So you can get a sense about how multidisciplinary the program really is in terms of the origin. Our program has varied in different lengths. Sometimes it's been 3 days, sometimes it's been 5 weeks. Right now, for the last couple of years, we are 2 weeks long, and we are 2 weeks right up against when school starts. So our program will be moving our students in on August 9th of this year. Orientation takes place on the 22nd. So we have them for 2 weeks. So our pre-summer programming looks just like what you see in front of you. We have a writing component, a math component, contemporary issues class, and an information literacy class. Earlier iterations included things like intercultural communication and computer literacy. But as we evolved our program, we also found that we needed to really focus on some of our program goals. And I'm sorry I didn't have a slide for this, but I want to go over them really briefly because they're kind of important to us. Our program goals are 5. Number 1 is academic skills to provide preparation for courses in the fall. The students' courses that they're taking, these 4 that you see here, writing, math, contemporary issues, and info lit, those are credit bearing towards graduation. They get 2 credits. Number 2, it is a bridge between home and USF. We know that students are very important to us, but also our families are important to us. We know that as first-gen students, that these students come with a network. The network oftentimes involves siblings, parents, sometimes high school counselors, and mentors. And we connect readily with all of those individuals. They're very important to us. Values, skills, knowledge, and how to function in the world is really important. So we want to keep in mind that we're not here just to prepare you for college. We're here to prepare you for the world of work. Those kinds of things that you're learning today are going to impact you later. We want to make sure that our students understand that our goal here at a Jesuit institution is to provide a collaborative and mutually supportive learning environment. That's really important to us. And last but not least, our last goal is to provide students with an idea about what campus resources are available and what opportunities exist for you on campus. So I'm going to go through with you next some of our, let's see, I think program artifacts, or is that where we are? Yes. Oh, best practices. So for best practices, partnering with oh, there you go. Lessons, where are we? Sorry, we're bouncing all over the place. But best practices, I'll just go there and talk about partnering with institutional research has been really important and crucial to us. You cannot have a program of this caliber without having someone in institutional research helping you cultivate a strong assessment plan. Our assessment plan is something that we worked on as a team. That included a reflection of the goals that I had mentioned to you earlier in terms of academic skills, in terms of leadership, in terms of operating in a multicultural world. What does that mean? So we have learning goals, outcomes, and rubrics that we built specifically for the program, and we're able to share that with our program partners. We share that with our faculty and say, this is what our program is meant to do. Please help us do these things. So a robust assessment plan is a must. You cannot move forward without that. We also have a program here at USF that we use that's called MapWorks that has recently changed its name, and I'm sorry that I don't have the name in front of me, but we do use that to assess where our students are. We do this for all first-year students, and we do that for first-year students in the 3rd week. As soon as they move in and they get all settled, hypothetically, and in the 3rd week we ask them, so how's it going? How often are you going to class? What kind of struggles are you having? How's homesick you are? And so this is something that we ask all students, which is really nice because once you develop a good assessment plan, you start to figure out what your comparator groups are. So we have a Muscat Scholar group. We have a comparator group of students who were invited to Muscat Scholars but did not attend, and students who are ineligible to attend the Muscat Scholars program. And just to go back to you, our primary group for our students is first-year, first-gen students. However, we do have students who are in our program who are not first-gen, and I'm okay with that. Our institution is okay with that because we believe that students who really want to have that opportunity to go to college and want to, involve themselves in this really intense program for 2 weeks, if they want to do it, we're all for it. We'd love to have them. Key partners have been really important. I had mentioned earlier Intercultural Center, the Learning and Writing Center, Student Life, other departments like housing is really important to us. Career services is really important for us too. Again, thinking about we want to prepare students for the world of work. That doesn't happen junior year. It doesn't happen senior year. Guess what? It happens even before school starts. So for us, we have a job fair for our students. We have interview workshops for our students, things like that to really help them think about what you bring to the table as a first-gen student, as a student, period. You cannot do this work alone. It's for many years, I was the only person running this program, but now that the doors have opened and we've had other people be a part of our process, it has made for a richer program. So I can't stress enough, the the use of key campus partners. Right now, we also have a really strong social media program that we use with our students that we've been working on for, gosh, since our admission process. Those of you who work in admissions know that once we have our end date for admissions and all the acceptances gotten rolled out, we do a lot of our outreach even before then, saying, hey, are you interested in the Muscat Scholars? We have a Facebook page, a Twitter account, and we also do have live Ustreams where we have host chats where students can come and interact with us. So we do a lot of that because we want to get students, we want students to see us, we want students to connect with us even before they set foot on campus. Many of our first-gen students will not have visited University of San Francisco before they apply, and that's okay, but this is a nice way for them to see it. On our Facebook page, we have videos of this is what campus looks like. This is what your dorm is going to look like. These are where this is a place where you get your food. And so being able to host those kinds of videos really produces a level of engagement that we feel is really important to us. So I really want you to think about what your social media looks like when it comes to building engagement with your students. We know that engagement builds retention. So anything that you can do to become a part of your students' daily vocabulary and be engaged with them is going to have its returns. Just to kind of give you an idea of what some of our returns have been, let's see, what else can I share with you? Actually, when I go back to best practices, I also wanted to share with you is that we don't just have an orientation to USF. That's great. This is what the classes look like. But we also have an orientation to San Francisco. Every night we have optional field trips for students to go to, so they learn how to take the bus. They learn where the stores are around campus. They learn how to be safe around campus. Each student is assigned a peer mentor and a staff mentor. Staff mentors will be taking students on the bus to show them how to be safe on the bus. Things like that. So orientation to school and city are really important to us. We include things like a financial literacy workshop. This is how you use your financial aid. This is how you reapply for financial aid. And this is what it means to save money. This is what it means to be a work-study student. These kinds of things are really important to us. Our nightly discussion groups include things like we have a common reading. We're reading Tattoos on the Heart by Father Gregory Boyle, who works for Homeboy Industries. And so we are all reading that as a group, not just the students. The peer mentors are reading it. I'm reading it. Our staff is reading it. Our faculty are reading it. And also our staff mentors and peer mentors have read it. So this is something where we want to create a language that is shared by everyone. We have retreats and things like that during the school year. We have peer mentors that have support during this program and during the year as well. We meet monthly. So maintaining that connection is really important because that's how you cultivate, again, people who want to give back. We provide so much to our students. And what's really the joy of our work is really having the opportunity to bring in new students and having students say to us, this program was so important to me, it was so helpful for me that I want to give it to someone else. And so that has been kind of the lifeblood of our program. One of the sayings that we have here on campus is, to whom much is given, much is expected, and we do really give our students so much, and they realize how much that has had an impact on them. And just to give you an idea about retention, this is my last piece, and then we'll move on to Q&A, is that students in Muscat Scholars Program, and this is starting at 2012, because that's when we started using the MapWorks program. Students in Muscat Scholars were retained at a higher percentage than either comparison group. Comparison, again, is Muscat Scholars who were invited but did not participate. So they were invited but did not participate, and students who were not eligible. So we have a higher percent of retention. Now, having that number and being able to say that to your funders, to people who are soliciting grants, that is huge. You want to be able to say to them, this is my retention. I want someone to, I need more resources to help my program do more. And this is how it is helping people. Without those kinds of numbers, no one will give you money. No one will give you support. But if you can say, I have a higher percent, I have a 7% higher graduation rate than students who were not invited to Muscat Scholars Program, then people are going to pay attention. So your institutional research folks are going to be your best friends. Take them to lunch. Become really familiar with what the language of assessment is and meet them where they are, and magic things will happen. I can tell you from experience that it has increased my budget and it has increased the visibility of the program. So good luck to all of you who are thinking about summer bridge programs, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you so much, Charlene and Harper, and thank you for beginning this talk. Certainly this is where we'd like people to jump in and start to engage with our expert panelists to take some of these beginning elements a little bit deeper and maybe more specific to the needs of the institutions where you are all representing and might be willing to start programs like this to help support first-gen students on the ground. I do have a beginning question to toss out to our panelists if you are both ready, and maybe you can answer them back to back. But the question is, and it comes in from Michael Dixon, so thank you. Michael, I'm going to make your audio available so that you can voice this question straight on. And here we go. Michael, are you with us? Michael, are you there? Very faint. If you can turn up your mic just a bit.
What if I walked a little closer to the microphone?
That's better.
Okay. Thank you very much for turning on my microphone. The question I have is, how do you work through concerns of balancing the summer bridge program with orientation, when you're signing up for classes, like registration and advising days, whatever you call it, and then the beginning of the semester? As I've heard, different summer bridge programs, they obviously vary in length, they vary in time, which could be butting up against the beginning of the semester, or even in the middle of the summer, and then students have time to go home and think about it, and then come back in the fall. So how do you go about determining when that is?
I'll answer that question first. This is Harper from Pepperdine. So the way that we have our programming worked out, we really focus in on the timing. So we try to host our program close to graduation high schools have taken place. So usually I would say it kind of takes place at the end of June. And then our orientation, because we only have one orientation, is usually at the end of August. So when students are on our campus for that 4 days, when they go back home, they still have almost 2 full months back at home before they come to our campus. I think that, of course, every school is a little bit different. So if your campus has multiple orientation days, you're going to want to think about when would be a good time to create a program like this. For us, since our office, being that I am in admission, we don't plan any part of orientation. So for us, it works out that we're not dealing with crossover of having to plan multiple events at the same time. But when we are working with other departments that are going to both have to help us and then also help with things like orientation, registration, and things like that, I think something that's really worked for us is getting to know some key people in different departments who really support our program, and going directly to those people first, because usually they're very comfortable with saying, okay, I'll take out 30 minutes or an hour out of my day to be able to lead this session, and then this way you're not having to incorporate a whole department of people who also might have to do a crossover. So I think for us it's definitely timing and then making those connections with people, and then utilizing kind of some of those same staff members and faculty members each year, since they are usually quick to put us on their schedule, even as things start to get very busy.
Hi, so at the University of San Francisco, our registration and advising process happens before the program. So it's really interesting. I know who my group is probably by at the earliest, maybe mid-May. And in our Facebook group, I'm already preparing them. It's like, these are the things you need to know. These are the videos you need to watch. We have a really interesting advisement process where we have our students watch a video that will tell them what classes they need to take, how to register, and all the different resources on campus. And they have to take a quiz, and then they register for classes. So by the time I know who they are, I can prepare them for that process, because as we know, many of our students are busy doing other things. So it's helpful to keep them on point and help them understand what they need to do And also, I can follow up with them and say, oh, I noticed you didn't register for your classes. I'm also the academic success coach for our students. So no matter what major they are, I'm someone who works on behalf of the institution to kind of help them navigate the transition through their majors, through being here on campus. So I'm able to outreach them, look at their transcripts, and give them some support and say, hey, you may want to think about adding on another class. You only have 12 credits. We want you to get up to 16. So I can have those kinds of conversations with students readily and early. One of the other things about our program, because it's been around for so long, is that we used to have multiple registration sessions where students would just come in for a couple days. And so what I try to do, so it would happen maybe 3 times during the summer. And one of my things that I used to do was, if you're, and I would tell students, if you're on campus, we will have open drop-ins on this time. Please come, sit down, bring your family. I can answer questions for you. So it's really about finding a space and a time and building that expectation that there is someone going to be here for you from the moment you land on campus or the moment that you sign up for the program. I'm always going to be here for you. You can ask me anything. So it's really about finding out what the dates and times for your programs are and seeing if you can build in a quick, maybe a 1 hour long or 2 hour long, a meet and greet with your students and families that really helps to build that sense of, especially if you're thinking about yielding students and you're worried about melt, is there's someone here, I feel comfortable handing you over to this institution because there's that person here. And it's really about getting to become a part of their network, the family network, and also the students network. So I found those processes have been helpful. I hope that helps answer your question about registration. Definitely I have access to all the registration so I can see what classes they're in, and thanks for reminding me. I need to follow up on that. But yes, definitely I'm trying to make some special time just for the students. It's really important.
That's terrific. Thank you so much. The next question for our expert panelists is coming from Berenice Espitia, and I was going to ask anyone who does get the mic opened, as Berenice's is, for questions, to just identify the institution they represent as well before their question. So, Berenice, take it away. All right, Berenice, can anyone hear you? Okay, I will read her question aloud for our panelists. Panelists, how does a day in your programs look for students and staff?
Excellent. I'm actually looking at my schedule for our program. Just to give you, let me talk about, let's see, they move in on a Sunday here for us at USF because it is a 2-week program. So they were moving in on Sunday. We have a family orientation and also a peer mentor scholar lunch. We do a big welcome. We do a welcome reception with desserts afterwards, which is our time to say, okay, parents, it's time for you to go. Our students have a meeting that starts at 6. And so we kind of give them some framework. We actually do share the schedule with our parents as well, so they kind of know what students are doing, but not with too much detail. We kind of give them just, these are the classes and this is when they're booked. So a typical day of our program will be, let's see, classes do start at 8 in the morning. We do have a very high expectation that students will be on time to class at 8 in the morning for a math class, no less. And then we have a welcome with our students and then another class, the contemporary issues classes. And because our program is so big, we have 51 students every year. At least our goal is to try to grow it to 60 or 70 students every year. But we have multiple sections of the same class. So there are 4 sections of math going on at the same time, 4 sections of contemporary issues at the same time. And all of these classes are taught by USF faculty. That's really important for me to share, is that faculty teach these classes. We wanted to make sure that the students see what USF teaching is all about. Later on that day, they'll have lunch with their staff mentors, which is a meet and greet. We have them walk up the Lone Mountain Hill, which is about 150 steps, which always freaks students out, but it's a nice way to get used to doing some cardio, and that's actually where most of our classes are. Later on that evening, they'll have maybe a workshop, a meet and greet with another campus department. They'll have dinner, and then we have what we call tribe meetings. Every night we have a tribe meeting, which is kind of a touch point for us to kind of get everyone into, so every peer mentor has a tribe of a certain amount of students. Our scholars are probably about 4 to 5 scholars in every tribe that is overseen by a peer mentor. And it's usually, we have a set agenda for what we talk about. We also have a set agenda to, let's see, a set agenda to talk about, and we talk about the strengths, and we'll be talking about the books at our tribe meetings. So rinse and repeat for a couple of days. We have a couple, maybe our first Friday is going to be a field trip that the entire group takes. So there's no classes in the afternoon. Saturday and Sunday, we do book them. I know it's a lot, but we do book them on Saturday. We have a community service event that we take them on, and we want them to get used to. Our Jesuit mission is very tight on being men and women with others. So we want our students to get off campus to do some community service. They'll do community service on Saturday and Sunday, and they'll do a debrief on Sunday night. And then we rinse and repeat, and we graduate everyone on the Friday, the 21st, and everyone, the rest of the 1,500 students who are coming to USF will move in the next day. So that's kind of a brief capture about our program.
So for the Pepperdine Summer Preview, the way, in a similar fashion, we have our students pretty much programmed throughout the entire 4 days. So they move into the dorms on a Monday morning. And to kind of give you kind of a structure of how we break it down is every day is going to have informative workshops. Then there will always be some sort of fun programming, and then we always make sure that there is some sort of free time in addition to the meals that are planned throughout the 4 days. So to give you an example of what the day would look like, for example, on the let's say the first day, they would check in the morning. They would then have a residence life workshop inside of the hall that they're living in, and this is actually led by current students, and they talk to the participants about what it's like to live inside of the dorms, what are some of our community standards, and give them kind of an understanding of what they're going to experience throughout their 4 years when they're living inside of our residence halls. Then they'll have an opening session. Usually that is with myself, and that kind of gives them an overview of what our program is, what the purpose of the program is, and kind of what to expect throughout the week. And then we'll start some of the formal workshops. So we always start the week off by having a faculty member coming in and talking about academic success and what that looks like on Pepperdine's campus. And I like to prompt all of our different speakers on some just really hard-hitting questions that a lot of students have concerns about but are often too afraid or shy to ask. So I usually will tell this professor, you know, you want to address things like, you know, what should I wear to class, all the way to how often should I be studying, what's really going to stand out when I first join a classroom setting on our campus, and things like that. Then on that first day, they have more of an interactive workshop where they're going around campus and learning about different departments. Then their fun event for that first night is a movie night, and so that's supposed to be kind of an opportunity for them to calm down. The first night we usually have an on-campus fun activity because we do have some students who fly in from the East Coast, so a lot of them are a little jet-lagged. But then on the other days, we tend to have an off-campus event that's kind of their fun activity. So one day we do also have a service activity, since service is a big part of the Pepperdine mission. Another day we will take them to the beach because you cannot visit Malibu without having some time at the beach. And so we do try to balance those things, but as I mentioned before, it's also important to give them a little bit of free time, and so we will try to have all the things they might need just to enjoy campus. So we will rent basketballs and volleyballs, and we give them access to our gym. We kind of give them a map and say, here are some of the highlights and some places on campus they might want to check out. So that kind of gives you a breakdown of some workshops, fun programming, and then also some free time for them to explore and get to know each other.
That's great. Thank you. So rolling along, I'm going to get our next question in the queue, and this one is coming from Beth Nalick. And Beth, I have now unmuted you, and you are on. Beth, are you there? I see now that Beth is also having some mic trouble, so I will do the question, ask the question for her. Beth's question is, they have a bridge program at present. However, keeping the students engaged with each other after the first few weeks has been a challenge at times. Do either of our panelists have any suggestions?
I'm curious to know, Beth, about your bridge program, because you said it was a couple weeks long, and in terms of engagement, what kind of activities you are doing with each other, and maybe if you wanted to put that in the chat, and then if Alexander sees it, then he can just let us know. One of the things that I mean, I think we're blessed because we are in San Francisco that it's kind of hard to not get engaged. I think a lot of people just really want to go off campus, and so we do a lot of field trips off campus together with our students. But it's also, I think, the use of peer mentors is really important. I think how you communicate what the goals of the program are to your peer mentors in terms of, and I'm very explicit with our peer mentors, like your job is to retain this group of students. Your job is to make sure that your tribe members and all of our students here at Muscat Scholars Program, or MSP, feel a level of engagement unlike no other, that they feel that this is their home. And I think communicating that to the peer mentors and also communicating the expectation of what kind of things we're going to do together and keeping people engaged. I think so. Alex, do you have an update for us?
I do, thank you. So she's qualified this by saying it's hard to keep them engaged after the 2-week program has ended and the semester has actually commenced. And so trying to keep them engaged through the program itself, I guess what's happening post the summer connection.
So one of the things, I had mentioned this earlier, was we have monthly dinners. And the monthly dinners they're actually fairly cost effective. I think that maybe we have it maybe for 20 people, and students can come and go as they want. A lot of times people will come in between classes. This is a really nice way to get students from other program years to come, because once you move off campus, oftentimes people lose their food plan, and so they are always looking for a way to get something to eat. So I've been really amazed about how it really brings people together, and there's no expectation. Once we have a dinner, it's really just come and eat, let's check in with each other, but there's no program, there's no meeting, there's no sit and listen to this lecture. It's really casual, and that has really had a lot of benefits. We also are lucky to have retreats where we take students off campus and to try to, make them very short but also meaningful, to treat our students to a little bit of quality time with each other and with the staff. You'll find that they really miss the staff. So bring the peer mentors back, bring some of the teachers back, the staff mentors, and the students really like that. They come back over and over again.
Excellent.
I think something that has worked for us has definitely been getting some of the students who are in our program to be the people who do a lot of the PR for the events. Something that I noticed very quickly this past year is that students don't use Facebook the way that they used to, and so when I was sending out Facebook invites to some of our events, I wasn't getting any responses. But what I found out was that one of our student workers in our admission office actually is also a PSP alumna, and when I started to ask her if she could touch base with all of these students, by word of mouth, I was able to get more of them engaged. So I think that having some identifying throughout each group, identifying some students who you see, these are students who are leaders, these are students who the group really looks to them, and making sure that those students are the ones who really are promoting the events, because a lot of times students will come to things if their friends are going to be there. And so I think that having those key people and relying on them to do some of the promoting of those programs that are throughout the year really is helpful. And then also I think really being flexible with timing. A lot of the programs that we advertise, we make it for a longer gap of time and tell students you can drop in at any point. That is really helpful, especially on our campus. A lot of our students are involved in a bunch of different things, so it's very difficult to get them all there for each event. But creating a space where they know that even if they can only come for a couple of minutes, that we still want them there, we still want to see them so that we're able to check in with them.
Excellent. Thank you. So watching the time and being mindful that we are going to make these, or strive to make these webinars direct and short and something sweet, I wanted to have one final question for our panelists, and then there'll be just a few final reminders, and that will close us out today. But the final question, I will attempt one more time to open the audio, as this person's audio worked last time. So we actually have Michael Dixon back, and Michael, take it away. You are on.
Hello.
Take it away. You are on.
Okay, can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Hi. My question is concerning faculty. With many of the schools having faculty on 9-month appointments, to ask them to do things during the summer months requires an additional contract, which of course then means more money. So then how do you compensate your faculty to teach in your summer bridge program? Is it an additional contract? Is it service to the institution? How does that work for each of your programs?
For the faculty that's in our program, they get paid. It is not an additional contract. They are paid on a per unit. So we do have a few tenured faculty, associate professors and assistant professors, and adjuncts, so we run the gamut. So it is not captured on their contract, so we do pay them. If they teach one course, it's a 0.5 credit, which comes out of our budget.
For the Pepperdine program, we haven't really ran into much of an issue with that, just because the faculty members who participate are usually only giving us about an hour of their time, just one time during that 4 days. So in the past, we've had 1 or 2 faculty who will participate. Most of the other sessions are some of the other programs on campus, and so because of that, a lot of those staff members are in their offices during the summer months. But for the faculty members, because Pepperdine, about 32% of our faculty live on campus, a lot of them are willing to come down for an hour just to talk to students. And again, I think that has been really helpful with having some faculty partners who have seen the outcomes of this program and have connected with these students throughout the school year, so they're willing to take just an hour out of their summer to present to the students in this program.
Great, thank you. Great, thank you. So at this time, we're going to start to wrap things up, and I just wanted to issue a huge thanks to everyone for logging on, for taking this time, and of course our expert panelists. In this next screen, which you still should be able to see, this is the contact information for our panelists, so that if any of you on the line at present or afterwards watching the recording wish to contact them to follow up with more specific questions, this is their information, and I will share this out through the College Partner Exchange as well. I'll leave it up for just a moment to make sure you can all see it. Great. So, of course, I'm going to co-opt just for my own personal reminders here. We are at the time of the year that we are making our adjustments and our updates for the profiles for all of you in our Guide to College for 2016. So I know that you've all received several updates, both from myself and from Brenda Cordero on our staff. Please ensure that you get those to us as soon as possible so that we can ensure that they are in the next version. And finally, I just want to urge everyone here to keep this conversation going. We've obviously just scratched the surface with what can be shared, and I want to urge you all to share any reflections or even additions that you wanted to add based on programs you run or have been a part of through the College Partner Exchange. If you have any issues or need access to that, or maybe want to check in with me about who has access to the College Partner Exchange, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Again, you've gotten emails, but that's ally@imfirst.org. So anyway, I wanted to take the opportunity live and in person one more time to thank Harper and Charlene, and thank, of course, Pepperdine and USF for being the beginning sources of this perfect information about work we can do to support these first gens. And I hope that everyone here has a great rest of the summer. We will begin a new round of webinars coming up in just over a month and a half. And again, if you have suggestions, send them my way, and I will look forward to harvesting the current participants as the expert panelists in future editions. So unless there are any last-minute pieces that people wish to share, I will say thank you, and I will sign off. Thank you again from the Center for Student Opportunity, and we'll be with you again in future months.